Hey guys, and welcome to this video. Today I'm going to be comparing the new Hermes highlighter to a few other highlighters that I have in my makeup collection and that are quite similar. I'm going to show you close-ups and swatches in natural light, so be sure to watch in HD because you're going to be able to experience really the little differences if you watch in HD, and preferably on your laptop or computer, because that's how you're going to really see the little differences, because I film in natural light and you're going to get the best experience. Now let's go ahead and get started. If you're new here, a very special welcome. If you love luxury beauty, be sure to subscribe and turn the notification bell on. I would really appreciate your time and support, and also I would love to have you as part of this amazing beauty family that we have here. Now let's go ahead and get started, and I want to show you first of all, in my last video I showed you the new Hermes highlighter. I applied it on my face and I have to say that I am in love with this highlighter. I have been wearing the highlighter and playing with it for the past couple of days, and the more I use it, the more I love it. And I usually don't go for this kind of yellowish highlighters, but this one is so fine and so beautiful. It just makes my skin look very polished, and it doesn't look like a powder highlighter. It almost has the performance of a cream highlighter but without being oily. So I think that Hermes actually did a great job. This is the only, I think, yellow highlighter that I actually look forward to use. So that's what justifies this purchase for me personally. I really like the quality of the highlighter. Now let's go ahead and compare this highlighter to three other highlighters that I have. And the first one, a lot of you requested that I should compare the Hermes highlighter to the Pearl highlighter from Chanel. So we think of the Chanel Compact as highlighter, however, Chanel advertised this as a blush, and that's how I use it on my face. It is too dark for me to use it as highlighter, and I use it as a blush. And I have a video where I showed you, where I reviewed the LeBlanc makeup collection last year, and I showed you this highlighter. It looks very beautiful, it looks very interesting, but on my skin tone it's definitely a blush. And I think if you're medium to deep skin tone, it is going to be like a highlighter. So it depends very much on your skin tone. But since the LeBlanc makeup collections of Chanel are usually created for the Asian market, the products are usually quite pale. So this one is a blush. It is meant to be used as a blush. So you can probably see on my swatches that actually the Chanel highlighter or blush, let's call it illuminating blush powder from Chanel. That's how Chanel called this product. So the LeBlanc highlighter, you can probably see that it's much darker than the Hermes highlighter. Then moving on to my favorite highlighter, one of my favorite highlighters from Chanel, and this is the Camellia highlighter. You can see how much I use the platinum shade, but I barely used the gold shade. You can still see a little bit of, you can still see a little bit of the patterns on the palette. So I'm basically not using the gold shade. Now the gold shade is definitely a lot more shimmery, and the shimmer is visible on the face. Whereas with Hermes, it just makes the skin look very polished. Whereas this one, I can see when I apply the gold shade of the Camellia highlighter, I can definitely see the shimmer on my face. I can see little shimmers and they are reflecting the light. Whereas with the Hermes highlighter, it just blends into my skin. It somehow melts into my skin and makes my skin look very polished. And then the other highlighter that looks very, very similar, I think this is the most similar shade, is the Charlotte Tilbury highlighter. And this is the highlighter in the palette Nudegasm Face Palette. I already reviewed this palette. You can go ahead and see a full review of this palette. Now this highlighter looks closest in terms of color to the new Hermes highlighter. The only difference that I find is that the Charlotte Tilbury one, it just is more visible on my skin. It doesn't make my skin as polished as the Hermes highlighter. So since the Hermes highlighter is closest to the Charlotte Tilbury highlighter, I'm going to apply a one on each side of my face so that you can see the difference possibly, and this could possibly help you to decide whether you need this highlighter or not. Now the new Permabrass highlighter looks quite similar to the Hermes highlighter, but unfortunately I don't have it. I decided to skip the Permabrass highlighter. And also there is another highlighter that could possibly be very similar to the Hermes highlighter. Those of you who have last year's Shantikai summer makeup collection, this is the compact Chic Cheek highlighting duo and the shade was, this is the rose highlighter. So I'm going to show you the box. So here there was a yellow highlighter similar to the Hermes highlighter, and also there was a very lovely pink blush. Unfortunately, I decluttered this because earlier this year I gave a lot of my makeup to a charity that works with women that are abused. So I was really happy to give like 3 big boxes full of makeup that was very some of the makeup was not used at all, some of the makeup was very gently used, and this was one of the products that I gifted to them. So unfortunately I cannot compare. I just had to get rid of a lot of makeup, and I thought it was very nice to make happy some women just like us, to make them smile. Okay, so I don't have highlighter now, and I'm going to be applying the Hermes highlighter first on one side of my face. On this side, you can see that I have been using the Hermes highlighter for the past couple of days, and I have been swatching it a lot because I swatch it a lot to find the perfect lighting, and I always tend to change my setting to find the best lighting. So I have been using and swatching this highlighter a lot for the past 2 days, and you can see that the design still remains really beautiful. So apparently you're not going to be swatching, unless you're a content creator, you're not going to be swatching the blush as much as I do. You are going to be able to keep the pretty design. So this is a great like addition because the design is beautiful. Okay, so you can see the way it looks. So I have to say that in terms of color, if we only look at the color, not the performance, this highlighter from Chanel, the Camellia highlighter, is very similar in terms of color. But with this highlighter, the shimmers are going to be visible. So it is shimmery and the shimmers are visible on the face. So it has the tiniest little shimmers, not glitter, but tiny little shimmers that are visible on the face. So that's why I'm not comparing it, because just it doesn't give this polished effect. You can see here. It looks very natural and it looks like a part of my skin, and I did build up the highlighter so I can definitely use less, and it's going to be even more natural. Now moving on to the Charlotte Tilbury highlighter, I'm going to be using a different brush. And this one I don't, I have to say I don't use it. I just don't enjoy a lot the way it looks on my skin, because it is a fraction darker than the Hermes highlighter and kind of more visible on my skin. I'm just not a huge fan of this color. So from this palette I really like the bronzers, but apart from the bronzers, the highlighter, I just don't go for it. Okay, so you can see how it looks. So it just doesn't give me the same seamless and very polished effect as Hermes. With the Hermes highlighter, just blends more seamlessly and somehow sinks into my skin, whereas this one, the Charlotte Tilbury highlighter, it just flashes a little bit. It just looks a little bit more unnatural, which makes me skip the highlighter. It is okay, I guess, but since I do have a lot of highlighters, it is never my first choice. Okay guys, so these were the highlighters in my collection that look similar to this Hermes highlighter in particular. I think that I don't have other highlighters that are similar, just because most of the time when I'm buying a highlighter, I go for a cool toned highlighter, and I go for a highlighter that is white or more pinkish tone highlighters, because these are the highlighters that look best on my skin tone. However, I have to say that the Hermes highlighter, it is definitely one of my favorites. Let me just show you, probably from far away, the Charlotte Tilbury one and the Hermes one, probably they look very similar. But still, now when I'm looking at myself straight in the mirror right now, I have a mirror in front of me, I can definitely see this highlighter, the Charlotte Tilbury highlighter, more visible. It just flashes and somehow reflects the light in a more unnatural way. So this is a con for me. So it all depends what you like, but for me this is a con. I don't like my highlighter to somehow flash back. I don't enjoy it. But if you apply it lightly, it's definitely going to be almost like the Hermes highlighter, so you can save your money if you already have this eyeshadow palette, this face palette, excuse me. So if you already have this face palette from Charlotte Tilbury, you can definitely save some money and you can skip the Hermes highlighter. Just wanted to show you once again from far away. You can probably see that this one reflects a lot more. It just looks more unnatural on me. So that was all for today's video. I hope this video is going to help you decide whether you need the new Hermes highlighter or not. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate your time. Please be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. I would love to have you here. And until next time, bye.